Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are
the Northwest Sports Fanatics.
The NFL and college season is winding down. Each week, I get even more and more sadder, man. We only got a handful of games to go. The BCS and the NFL playoff picture is starting to shape up. We just want to go over some of our standout players from the last week, some upcoming games to watch, and also our power rankings from the NFL and the NBA.
All right.
I'll kick it off on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to start with, of course, Mr. Peyton Manning. He's been on this list I don't know how many times this year. That's because he's balling out. 403 yards, 5 touchdowns in the victory over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. Solid win, divisional win.
Real impressive. So they completed the sweep of the Chiefs.
Right.
All right. Next up, I'm going to go with my running back and Mr. AP all-day Adrian Peterson. 35 attempts, 211 yards. You ain't getting the end zone for me, man. You on my fantasy team. I need some touchdowns, bro. But you did manage to squeak out the win against the Chicago Bears out there in overtime. So salute to AP. My wideouts, I'm going to go with, I got a saying that when I really like a player, I say I heart you. So Josh Gordon, man, I heart you, bro, man. You just on an unbelievable level right now as a young player. For the Cleveland Browns, that is. 10 receptions, 261 yards, 2 TDs. He actually got hurt and then came back and caught a 75-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, special player.
Hey, you got it going on out there, Josh Gordon. You the man. Next up, I usually don't do players that ended up with losses, but his stats is unbelievable. 12 receptions, 249 yards, and 2 touchdowns also for Mr. Alshon Jeffrey.
Wow, up-and-coming receiver.
Man, with him and Brandon Marshall out there, man, you got an unstoppable 1-2 tandem for years to come. Now, what about you in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball? Any players that stood out to you?
Yeah, there's a few players. I'm going to be real quick. A lot of these players you may not have heard of, but first we want to start off with linebacker Nick Roach. Okay, he's on the Oakland Raiders. This is the first Raider shout-out, so if you're Raider fans out there, solid game, 10 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. It's his 7th season. He's from Northwestern. Mm-hmm. He's got 5.5 sacks so far. He's the leader right now on that D. So you lost the game against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but you tried pretty hard throughout the game. Respect, you played pretty good. Matt McGloin is not a star quarterback, and you hung around. So
you didn't embarrass yourself.
You didn't embarrass yourselves on Thanksgiving. So shout out to you, Nick Roach. First time on the list today. Next, I want to go to a name you probably don't know. Olivier Vernon. All right?
Who?
Olivier Vernon.
Okay.
Not Oliver, Olivier Vernon. All right, so this guy is on the Miami Dolphins. He's a defensive end. He's an up-and-coming player. He's got 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks against, obviously, the Jets over the weekend. Big win, 23-3. But he's got 10 sacks already, believe it or not. He's number 6 in the NFL. It's his 2nd season. He's from the U.
Okay.
So, the Hurricanes. So, obviously, you're doing something good out there. A nice little pick for you. And I know him and Cameron Wake are going to be brainstorming together and trying to wreak havoc, obviously, on the NFL. So look for Olivier Vernon. Maybe even make the Pro Bowl this year. Shout out to you. And last but not least, it hurts me to say this. Got to give you a little pat on the back first. All right, defensive end, Justin Tuck. 4 tackles, 4 sacks.
Found the youth.
I don't know if the new Subway commercial or what's going on, but 6.5 sacks so far for him. 9th season out of Notre Dame. Obviously, it was a good win for the Giants. Tough win for your Redskins, obviously, or tough loss, 24-17. But if they didn't have 4 sacks, I'm not sure if the Redskins would have lost that game. So, Justin Tuck, shout out to you. Good game for you. Let's transition really quick to the BCS.
A.K.A.
the Bullcrap standings.
Okay.
So, let's get on to that. So, number 1, Florida State. So, you moved up in the rankings, so, right? So you defeated Florida 37-7, pretty easy, right? You're in the ACC championship against Duke.
They got a football team?
Duke. So I guess so. So you're going to be playing Duke. They're in the top 25, first time in years. So shout out to obviously Florida State. You took that top spot. There is some controversy with famous Jameis, so we'll get some results tomorrow and we'll let you know. Number 2, undefeated Ohio State.
Okay.
They're moving up in the rankings as well. You defeated Michigan 42-41. Went for 2 at the end. Ohio State snuck away with the win. Big Ten championship game against Michigan State coming up this weekend.
That's huge.
So that's huge. And Michigan State has a top 3D. Don't be surprised if some upsets happen. But solid performance by Ohio State to get to that spot. Number 3, 11-1 Auburn. So the Iron Bowl. Obviously, you know what happened if Auburn's number 3. They defeated Bama 34-28. Missed field goal. Got ran back for a touchdown.
Game of the year.
Now you got the SEC championship against Missouri. So now you got to move forward, Bama. That's in the past. Move forward, and let's see if you can make yourself to a nice, solid bowl game as we move forward. So shout out to Auburn. Number 4, 11-1, Alabama. Okay. Now, Alabama fans, I know you're probably upset. How could you lose by a missed field goal for a touchdown? But it's sports. Anything can happen. You never can underestimate the unthinkable.
I feel bad because I said kick the field goal, man.
Right. I just
don't listen to me, Saban.
Right. So, but Saban to Texas. That's the rumor. That's the chatter. So, still the best coach in NCAA, but could be coaching for another team really quick. So, shout out to Alabama. You played well, even though you did lose that last game. But you're number 4. You're still going to creep up possibly with these other people in these games this weekend. Number 5, Missouri. Defeated Texas A&M.
Okay.
All right. So, you're 11.
Too.
Right? Texas A&M was, you beat them 28-21. You're a pretty solid team this year. I thought you'd be gone by now. Auburn in that SEC championship. That's a time for you to show if you are for real or not. So shout out to Missouri, Jimmy Whitaker out there. And number 6, Oklahoma State. Right, you defeated Baylor a couple weeks ago. You had a bye. Now you got a nice Big 12 matchup against your rival Oklahoma.
Oh.
Right, so we'll see if they can take care of business and show everyone in Oklahoma they are the best team there. So shout out to you. They're 10-1 and number 6. Number 7, Stanford. You're 10-2.
Okay,
obviously,
back up there.
Yeah, you defeated Notre Dame 27-20. Sorry, Rick. Notre Dame will be back though. Pac-12 championship game against Arizona State this weekend. Huge implications. But shout out to Stanford.
Don't sleep on Arizona State.
Yeah, and I kind of feel maybe Arizona State's going to win that game. That's me personally. I think they got a well-rounded team, and it's in Arizona State, so they got the advantage at home. But Stanford is solid. David Shaw's a great coach. Shout out to him. Number 8, South Carolina. Mr. Steve Spurrier still hanging around. Right, you defeated Clemson 31-17. You are looking for help. This is one team that really needs a lot of other teams in front of them to lose to get a better bowl game, but you're still sitting at number 8, so solid season. I didn't think anyone thought that you'd be 10-2 at this point.
I didn't. Not with Shaw going out for a couple games like he did.
Right.
Salute to the Gamecocks out there in South Carolina.
Yeah, you're playing really well out there. Number 9, Baylor. You had a tough little game there where you lost, but you defeated TCU last week 41-38. Next up, you got Texas.
Okay.
So we'll see. Texas isn't that good this year, but I know Baylor is motivated. They're gonna wear their throwback unis this weekend, so that should get them motivated. And we'll see what type of game that we get. Maybe a little up and down game, obviously, at least for the first few quarters. Number 10, Michigan State. You defeated Minnesota 14-3. You're sitting pretty. Big Ten championship game. You can show everyone that maybe you are better than Ohio State.
Shock the world.
They might shock the world, so don't be surprised if that happens. So that's the top 10 in the BCS for now as we move forward past these championship games. What about the NFL power rankings?
NFL power rankings. Of course, we're going to stay in the Northwest with the Seattle Seahawks. And is there any doubt who's the best team in the NFL right now?
That's ridiculous. Best home field advantage, hands down, in NFL.
Wow, that 12th man is something serious out there. 11-1, the Seahawks are the first team to clinch a playoff berth this year, and they're going to get home field advantage. So the road to the Super Bowl goes through Seattle. Number 2, I moved them back up to number 2, and that's the Denver Broncos. On the sake of they just pulled the sweep of the Kansas City Chiefs. They sitting at 10-2, and they one step away from clinching home field as well, and also getting a all-important bye in that first round. Number 3. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Mr. Cam.
Superman.
Mr. Cam Newton. Y'all sitting at 9-3. The defense is making it so much easier for Cam Newton to play. And don't pull up too quick. You got the Saints this weekend. So that's going to be a huge game for y'all. Number 4, the New England Patriots.
Don't sleep on them.
Now, they squeaked by the Texans. They sitting at 9-3. But come playoff times, don't nobody want to see Brady and Belichick.
No.
And that's a fact. And my number 5 team, you can debate. It could be the Saints or you can go Chiefs.
Right.
But me, by the way that they're playing and I see they swagger, I'm going to go with the 49ers.
Okay.
The San Francisco 49ers, 8-4, 2 straight wins. You got Crabtree back. The offense is starting to score points. And the defense is always going to be the defense.
Right.
So those are our Northwest Sports Fanatics top 5 NFL teams. Now, what about the games to watch this weekend?
All right, so we'll start off with college football. Go down real quick. SEC championship game is going to be first. So all you fans of Missouri and Auburn, and any college football fan in general, number 5 Missouri, number 3 Auburn, 1 o'clock CBS. Be in the couches. Obviously enjoying these games. It's going to be great. Next game up after that's the Pac-12 championship. This is one that we really like out here in the Northwest. Number 7 Stanford versus number 11 Arizona State. Okay. 4:45 ESPN. Don't sleep on Arizona State, like we said. Yeah. If they come out with a victory, don't be surprised. I do like Arizona State a little bit better than Stanford this weekend. Next game after that is the ACC Championship. Number 20, Duke. Who knew they had a football team? I guess so. Versus number 1, Florida State. So don't expect any surprises in this game. Might start off a little slow, but Florida State will get it done.
Oh, yeah.
And 5 o'clock on ABC, a little showcase game. And then one game on at 5 also on Fox is going to be the Big Ten Championship. Number 2, Ohio State versus number 10, Michigan State. To me, this is the funnest game of the weekend, besides probably Arizona State, Stanford, or Auburn, Missouri. It's a coin toss. But Ohio State, Michigan State, they're both physical. You know, Michigan State's got a top 3 D. The only other 2 teams to average 11 points a game, given up, obviously per game, is who else? Bama and Florida State. So Michigan State is for real. I don't know if they can hold Ohio State to 11, but I think it'll be a better game than people think. So those are the games to watch for the college, obviously, ranks for this Saturday. What about on Sunday for NFL?
Great games coming up. First off, I want to give a shout out to Duke. I'm just joking, man. Y'all had an awesome year.
Right.
10-2. Who would have thunk it? And also, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Marshall from Auburn, the quarterback. I called you Webb last week. My mistake.
Mr. Marshall.
All you did was just go and beat Bama, so my mistake. All right, so NFL games to watch here. I'm going to start off with the Indianapolis Colts versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a huge game for the seeding coming up there. Both of these teams need a win. I think the Colts needed a little bit more. They're on a 2-game losing streak. Next up, you got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. Now, it's going to be hard for NFC East to win the wild card there with Carolina playing so well, also the 49ers. So this is huge for Philly to keep pace with the Dallas Cowboys. And the Detroit Lions, they fighting off the Bears and the Packers there to win that division. Next up, you got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, Carolina, if you want to be for real, this is a game that you must have as far as going a long way, making the Saints pass the torch. The Saints, you got to bounce back, man. You got embarrassed.
Right.
You got embarrassed, man, on national TV. So you're going to be home. So you got the crowd down there in New Orleans. Now, how y'all going to act? Next up, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys versus the Chicago Bears. The Bears is holding on to their playoff hopes by a string here. And the Dallas is important for them to keep winning, to keep pace with the Philadelphia Eagles. And the last game, Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Interesting.
That's going to be a big game. 2 hard-hitting defenses. I do believe right now the Seahawks offense is clicking a little bit more from the 49ers, but the 49ers have been scoring a lot lately. So those are our games to watch right there in the NFL for this weekend. So if you're a sports fanatic like us, we know y'all going to be glued to that too.
Absolutely.
So what about the NBA? Let's shift over to the NBA. Let's go with our top teams in the NBA right now.
All right, so we'll go NBA Power Rankings from Northwest Sports Fanatics. Number 1, Indiana Pacers. Okay. All right, so you're 16-2, 9-0 at home, 7-2 on the road. You're still the best team, I think, in the NBA right now. Paul George, he is
number 3. I moved you up over Chris Paul.
Right, so number 3. So the rankings go now: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Paul George. Believe it or not. And he scored 40-plus in the Blazer game a couple nights ago on Monday, and he really proved to us Northwest fans he's taking his game to the next level, and he's making it effortless out there. And Roy Hibbert, wow. This guy gets blocks like it's not even funny. I mean, it's like every quarter he's getting 1 or 2.
He's not that athletic. He's just tall
and kind of lanky, right? Yeah. But he's still making plays. And as long as they don't have any major injuries to Stevenson or some of their role players, watch for this team to go really far. Miami Heat's the only other team that's going to be battling them.
When they get Granger back, too, that'll help them out.
Absolutely. Granger, they're looking out for him. Number 2, Portland Trailblazers. Believe it or not.
Rip City.
So even Northwest fans out here, can we really believe it yet? Not really. But we're 15-3. We had a key win against the Pacers, the number 1 team, on Monday, 106-102 on Monday. 7-1 at home, 8-2 on the road. We're not usually winning on the road, so that's very unusual. But we'll take it. Lillard and company are still rolling. Our bench is rolling. So LA, All-Star year, one of the best forwards in the league, besides maybe Kevin Love statistically. So Blazers, let's keep it rolling. We got a big game, OKC tonight.
Yes,
so shout out to Rip City, and hopefully we get a top win here. Number 3, San Antonio Spurs.
The Spurs.
Right? The ageless wonders.
All they do is win.
Right? They never lose. 8-1 at home, 7-2 on the road. It seems like this team is really having fun with each other, pulling pranks on the sideline, on the bench there.
Something you've never seen with the Spurs before.
No, very serious normally, and they're pulling pranks, Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan, so you know they're really comfortable at this point in their careers. They've achieved a lot, but they're so good that they don't need to put the pressure on. They're the best basketball team in the NBA in Texas, over Houston and Dallas Mavericks, so it makes them probably feel pretty good, so shout out to you. Number 4, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay.
All right, you're pretty solid this year, 13-3, you're 9-0 at home, but there are concerns. You are 4-3 on the road. But some of these losses with when Westbrook was out, so now he's back, so they're on an 8-game win streak, very hot. So they play Portland tonight, obviously.
Something got to give.
Something got to give. So 2 top 5 teams. We'll see who comes out on top at the end. You know, KD will get his 30, but what about the supporting cast? That's what we want to see there, and it's going to be an amazing game. We're really looking forward to it out here in the Northwest. And number 5, I normally would have this team higher, but they had a real key loss last night, Miami Heat. You know, you're 14-4. If these other teams weren't winning as much, you definitely would be number 2 or number 3 right now. But 9-2 at home, 5-2 on the road. You had a tough loss against the Pistons. But the Detroit Pistons have probably the best front court in the NBA.
Young front
court. Right? Greg Monroe,
man.
Andre Drummond, Josh Smith. It doesn't get better for size, scoring, or rebounding. And then on top of that, let's just throw in just a little sprinkle. Oh, Brandon Jennings. Hey, we got Brandon Jennings back there. So, you know, this team is kind of up and coming, and the Heat, they tried, but they didn't have Dwayne Wade out there. So they're not full strength, but shout out to the Pistons. You played pretty good, but Miami Heat, watch for this team to start rolling really quick. Any shout out players for the NBA this week?
The NBA players of the week for last week. First player in the East is LeBron James, of course. He led the Heat to a 4-0 record last week. And in the West, it's Kevin Durant.
KD, surprise, right?
KD, he led the Thunder to a 4-0 record as well. So we're going to try something new for y'all, Northwest Sports Fanatic. For all our fans, you can hit us up on Facebook. We're going to try to answer some questions that you have for us. And the question this week we have from Melinda Cantu. She's from Hillsboro, Oregon, out here in Oregon town. She wants to know what we think about the Mike Tomlin situation.
Mike Tomlin situation. So
the stanky leg.
Yeah,
the stanky leg.
He must have been. You know, at first you could say, did he really know what he was doing? But then when you cue the camera on him, he's smiling. Yeah. So you obviously he knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
So just to update you, if you didn't hear, so Mike Tomlin's the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He just got fined $100K for stepping out on the field in the Thanksgiving game. The Steelers didn't end up winning the game, but you pretty much interrupted a touchdown.
You cheated, dog.
You cheated a little bit, right? But they're talking about threatening about draft picks now, too. So what do you think about draft picks on top of the $100K fine?
Well, I don't know about the draft pick, but the $100K fine, I would rather them do a suspension.
Yeah, me too.
Than the take away the draft pick, because when you're taking away the draft pick, you're not only affecting the whole organization as well. Yeah, and you don't need to punish the whole organization for his mistake that he made, but if you want a comparison money-wise, so Spygate with Belichick, Bill Belichick, right? Okay. Yeah, so when you had the Spygate going on, he got fined $500,000. So pretty big penalty. I mean, this next closest thing is $1 million. So, I mean, it's real serious. So when you had Mike Tice, former coach of the Minnesota Vikings, he was selling some Super Bowl tickets. He shopping his tickets.
Right? He was shopping his tickets out, selling all his family's tickets. He was getting rid of them all, right? He got fined $100K. So it's a pretty serious thing. So I think the fine is probably where it needs to be. But I hope they don't take any picks because, you know, Pittsburgh Steelers fans or not, if you like them or you hate them, you don't want to do that to the organization. These draft picks are gems, and you can't just let that go just based on one person's decision.
I expect more from you out there, Mike Tomlin. You and Jason Kidd with the spilling your drink.
Right?
Come on, man. Y'all stand up guys. You know how hard people put in to work each week to get these victories. So don't be cheating, man. Bottom line, man.
Right. No cheating.
Yeah. All right. So you can follow me on Twitter, MarcusHill_NWSF.
Orion_NWSF.
Hit us up on Facebook with any questions or sports topics that you want us to talk about. Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
We want to shout out our sponsors. We love all the support that we're getting from you guys.
Appreciate that.
Share the page. We live it.
Yes, sir. Also, hit us up on Instagram @NW Sports Fanatics. Shout out to my man Banner Bob for the banner in the background. I'm Marcus. This is Orion.
And together we are Northwest Sports Fanatics.
Church.